Good day everyone, I am Samuel Jr. A. Pinales, and for today's report, we'll be discussing about the characteristics, causes, and symptoms of multiple disabilities, as well as with the family and parent involvement, and also with the interventions. So before we going to start the discussion, I have here a story about Sharon. So Sharon is an active 5-year-old who loves to spend time with her grandmother. She also loves to finger paint and play with the family dog. Sharon has a multiple disabilities. When she was born, she didn't get enough oxygen. As a result, she has an intellectual disability, problems with mobility, and a speech impairment that makes it hard to understand what she's saying. But that doesn't stop Sharon from chattering, though she has a lot to say. So Sharon is a 5-year-old girl who has also had multiple disabilities due to an not enough oxygen. So Sharon has these three conditions, which is an intellectual disability, problems with mobility, and a speech impairment, which makes it hard to understand what she is saying. But how strong this Sharon is, because he doesn't stop from chattering even though she has this condition. She still keep on saying something and has a lot to say. So, for Sharon's parents, it's been a long road for Sharon's birth until today. When she was just a baby, she began receiving special services called early intervention. These services help children with disabilities from birth to their third birthday. In early intervention, Sharon learned to crawl and to stand and finally to walk with braces. So because of this early intervention, Sharon has begun learning on how to crawl, to stand, and especially to finally walk with support and braces. Now, in preschool, Sharon receives special education services like early intervention. These services are meant to address her special learning needs. Her parents were involved. They sit down often with the preschool staff and talk about Sharon's progress. The theme also talks about Sharon's challenges and how to address them. Last week, for example, Sharon got a picture board to help her communicate. She's busy learning it. Now, Sharon's parents know that Sharon will always need some support because of her multiple disabilities. But her parents also know how determined Sharon can be when she is learning something new. She's going to learn it by golly. There is no stopping her. So Sharon's parents realized that because of Sharon's condition, which has she has these multiple disabilities, Sharon will be needing supports from them, and until the day that Sharon will gain some improvements in herself. So, but at the other side, Sharon parents believe in Sharon as well because Sharon know how to um doesn't know how to So, on the other hand, Sharon parents also believe in Sharon as well because Sharon here doesn't know how to surrender. So, done for the so we are done with the story, and now we are going to discuss about the multiple disabilities, the characteristics, causes, and symptoms. So, what are the characteristics of multiple disabilities? People with multiple disabilities has a combination of various activities that may include hampered speech and communication skills. They have a problem on communicating with people. They can't communicate with people that easily or that fluently. So next is physical mobility and needs of assistance in everyday activities. So they can't move that well as they can't move that well. They have the limitations on their movements, so they need some assistance and support in every day that they are going or everything they are going to do. seizures, mental retardation, visual and hearing problem, brain injury, and possibly others. So they may also have sensory losses and behavior and all the social problems. So next characteristics or some characteristics that these physical and medical problems result in the presence of two or more following characteristics. So first is the restriction of movements, limitations of movements. They can um, they can move or they can do whatever they want because there are limitations or restrictions. Skeletal deformities where their bodies has some extra or it's deformed. It's not like a normal person or a normal body of a person. Sensory order disorders, their mind. There's a problem in their thinking skills. Seizure disorders, lung and breathing control. So it's not normal. Perhaps the most significant characteristics of many people with multiple disabilities are deficits in the area of communicating or communication, intellectual and sensory functioning, motor skills and adaptive skills, making it difficult for them to communicate, move, and to adapt what they want, what they need, and the pains for those and the pains that need and the pains they have for those around them. So next, having a multiple disabilities means that a person has more than one disability. So right now we are talking about the causes. The causes of these disabilities are chromosomal abnormalities such as like premature birth, difficulties after birth, poor development of the brain or spinal cord, infections, genetic disorders, injuries from accident, and lack of oxygen at birth. Just like as with Sharon, Sharon has a lack of oxygen. Sharon suffer from a lack of oxygen at birth. That's why she has this condition, multiple disabilities. So to proceed, multiple disabilities aren't all the same to every person that has it. The term multiple disabilities is general and broad. From the term, you can tell. You can tell how many disabilities a child has. You can tell which disabilities are involved or how severe each disability is. So, having multiple disabilities aren't the same to everyone that has it. So next, we're going to tackle about the parent and family involvement of multiple disabilities or the patients with multiple disabilities. So how are the parents or the family involved in this type of situation or conditions? So families can be the most important factor in a child's success in reaching his full potential. The efforts of a child's family to provide life experiences and obtain necessary services can make a tremendous difference. When the children are part of a family life, they learn about the world around them, about the people in that world, and about themselves as a person as well. So, it is true that our parents are our first teachers. They are the one who is going to guide us, to support us, and to help us in everything while we are still starting in this life. So by having their full support, we are able to gather knowledge or we are able to learn some and to live it, live with it. So next, the feelings and expectations and those of the other members of your family about having a child with multiple disabilities may vary. Um, Maybe they are going to feel or they will find themselves overwhelmed with the number of professionals they need to consult about their children's conditions and by the sheer volume of appointments they need to keep. So it's kinda hassle to keep doing this kind of stuffs, but because if you have someone or your beloved ones, you need to give your all support for them because it's not that easy as well to have this kind of conditions, especially multiple disabilities. Not one, not twice, but a lot. So next rather. For many families, the basic requirements for their children with multiple disabilities are that they need to be safe and comfortable, learn to be as independent as possible, be able to communicate, be appreciated, respected, and loved, and as well as to have opportunities to be full-fledged member of their community throughout their lives. To proceed, when children are part of a family life, they learn about the world around them, about the people in the world, and about themselves as a person as well, because there are someone to guide them. There are someone who is going to support them. There's someone who's going to teach them what is right and what is wrong. Even though there's a lot of people who's gonna give you that kind of discussion or lessons, but it is still different with your families, because having your families, they are the first teachers of yours, so they are the one who is going to support you until the end. So you really have that kind of connection with your family and parents, so they are very important in involve their involvement is very important in this kind of or in this type of conditions, or especially with this condition of multiple disabilities. To those patients or some children that has these conditions, they need the involvement or support with of their family and parents. It is important for your child to be involved in meal times in your home, so it is important that you are going to eat together. They will have that experience and they will love it, and they are going to learn from it. Sitting at the table with the rest of the family gives her the chance to be socialized and communicate. It is your work or job for the family and parents to at least teach your children that has multiple disabilities how to communicate and socialize with other person. So by starting it with inside the family, they will be able to adapt it, and they are able to enhance that in their self and to communicate with others as well. So next is pick one or two tasks a day where you can have your child participate with you. This is not to force them on working, but this is on giving them the chance to practice themselves and to give idea on how they're going to do this and that. So they will not be left behind. So just treat them, not totally to treat them as a normal person, because they have conditions. So you need to be more wise and careful for them and to them, because they need that kind of um, treatment. So you need to be easy on them. So to continue, wherever the rest of the family are, bring and let your child with disabilities to socialize and involve with the family. So that can be an important for him or her and for all of you as a family as well. So let me give you this quote. Families are the key ingredient in helping to make all these things happen. So it really starts within our family. So everything that are going to happen, it starts with our family. So next, multiple disabilities about interventions. So what are the interventions in this condition of multiple disabilities? When children have multiple disabilities, they are often eligible for the type of help that Sharon, our story, is receiving. So those children that has this kind of conditions as well, like multiple disabilities, those services, those support, and those help that Sharon has been able to receive, they also need those things for them to enhance and to be um, to learn more in their life, and to let's say what is that kind of for their condition to be well as well, to be balanced. So next, how does the combination of these disabilities affect the child's learning, balance, use of the senses, thinking, and so on? This question is really important in determining what are the solutions that you are going to take, or you are going to give for this type of condition. So the answers of this will help parents and involve professionals decide what types of support and services the child needs and in the future. So this is where the intervention takes its place. So the first one, or the first services that they need, is the early intervention. This early intervention starts after the birth, wherein the toddlers or the infant has been diagnosed with multiple disabilities. So from his birth, or from her birth, until the third birthday of him or her, they will be receiving services. Their parents will be receiving services for the betterment of their children that has this kind of disabilities. So, early intervention services are available in every state and territory as required by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or also known as IDEA. So, it is the IDEA who required these services, the early intervention services. It is to help our infants and toddlers that has these multiple disabilities. Next, for babies and toddlers, our the early intervention is for babies and toddlers. When a baby is born with multiple disabilities, his or her parents should know that there's a lot of help available and immediately. So there's a lot of help available and immediately they are going to give you services for your children that has this kind of conditions. So it is welcome. You are welcome, and they are willing to help you and give you services for the betterment of your children. And next is, or for your child. Shortly after the diagnosis of multiple disabilities is made, parents will want to get in touch with the early intervention system in their community. So they said her confidently that after the parents will be able to get that services from the early intervention, they will have the courage, or they will have the will to get in touch with the early intervention system in their own, in their own respective communities. So that's how amazing and beautiful the early intervention. So to proceed, special education and related services as well is being given from those children, or from those who ages from 3 to 21 years old. So after the early intervention, you are going to be under the special education and related services if you have that kind of condition, or your children or child has that kind of condition with multiple disabilities. So this includes preschoolers, again, ages from 3 to 21 years old. These services are specially designed to address the child's individual needs associated with the disabilities. So the services are provided at no cost to families. So in good news, it is free for every family. These services will be conducting, or associated, will be given the individual, will be addressing the child's individual needs in accordance to their disabilities. So we are done about the symptoms, characteristics, parent and family involvement, and as well as with the intervention of the multiple disabilities. So now we are down to additional information. So my additional informations will talk about the people, or the famous people that has the same condition of our topic, which is multiple disabilities. They have not only one disabilities, but 2 or 3 or more. So who are these people? So first is the American girl, or the American legend that has a nature of disability of being deaf and blind. Her name is Helen Keller, born on June 1880, June 27, 1880, and died on June 1, 1968. She is probably the best known icon of persons with disabilities. She became deaf and blind at the age of 19 months due to an unknown illness. So it's kind of crazy because she has an unknown illness which give her a deaf and blind condition. So Helen was taught to express herself by Anne Sullivan. So Anne Sullivan is her teacher who remained her lifelong companion. So her teacher Anne Sullivan became her lifelong companion, or the one who is guiding or supporting her rather. So Helen Keller went on to become the first graduate with deaf and blindness in the world. So imagine Helen Keller was the only person, or the only disabled person that was that have graduated with deaf and blindness. So the autobiography of Helen Keller, The Story of My Life, is considered a classic book in English literature. She traveled around the world and campaigned for anti-militarism, women's suffrage, labor rights, socialism, and other similar causes. So Helen Keller is the most certainly one of the famous disabled person in the world. So imagine how active this Helen Keller was, even though she has this kind of conditions, being deaf and blind. But Helen Keller, that doesn't become a hindrance for Helen Keller to achieve his dreams, to become the most to graduate, and then to proceed with to stand on her ideas. So to proceed, next person is Lewis Carroll. So Lewis Carroll has a condition of autism, and as well as being deaf in one ear. So Lewis Carroll is a British nationalist. So the life achievements of Lewis Carroll was the author of many children's books, including the world famous Alice in the Wonderland. So Lewis Carroll is the author of that Alice in the Wonderland and other famous many children's books. So Lewis Carroll lived with autism. The disorder affected his speech, due to which he stammered while talking in social groups. So it became it becomes a problem or challenge for Lewis Carroll in communicating with the social groups. In communicating with social groups. So even though he was also deaf in one ear, but his disabilities didn't stop him from excelling as a renowned writer and a storyteller. So these two famous people or person are really amazing, and you really need to give them importance, and as well as to make them as your inspiration in life, because even though they have this kind of conditions, it's not easy to have this kind of conditions in your whole life. And then even though they have this kind of conditions, it doesn't become a hindrance for their success in life. So believe in yourself and keep doing what you're doing, as long as it is good for yourself and as well as for others. So that's all for my report. The next reporter will be Jed Velaceran. He will be talking about the same topic with different parts. So that's all, and thank you.